Good evening, NorCal Carters. And tonight's podcast is... Oh, that's interesting. I get an echo. Sorry about that. I caught myself completely off guard because I was doing some editing work on the podcast from this past weekend at the Track Magic reunion, and all of a sudden I started talking to myself. So apparently, when Spreaker is up and running and I go live, I broadcast automatically. So that's fantastic. So, sorry, I sidetracked myself. Not very hard to do. This is your upcoming karting events in Northern California for the week of September 30th. And for the next 3 months, these episodes have been sponsored by Rock Cup USA. And they have a race coming up at Sonoma on October 16th. And it's Rock Sonoma presented by Senzario. And the big end of the year finale for the Rock Group is Rock the Rio. So all that information can be found on their website at rockcupusa.com. And it's Rock, R-O-K, USA. I'm sorry, rockcupusa.com. No C in the Rock. And so thank you to the Rock Cup USA guys for sponsoring the podcast. And I'm kind of a little taken back tonight. I'm just reflecting on the weekend and the Track Magic event that was at Blue Max this past weekend. So again, I was editing it and listening to the different interviews that we did. And man, it was such a good time. So I'm going to wrap the show up tonight with kind of just a quick replay of some of the highlights from my perspective for that event. But let's get to it. The upcoming events for NorCal Carters for the week of September 30th. So tomorrow night, we will actually have as a special guest, Garrett Potter. He is the head of Rock Cup USA. He will be on tomorrow night on our podcast, and he's going to go into details on their VLR program and their Briggs to VLR program for the Rock the Rio event. And that's going to give racers a chance who participate in the Briggs and Stratton classes to race the VLR 100cc two-stroke at Rock the Rio. So Garrett will be on tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And October 6th, the Blue Max Kart Club. Blue Max has been busy the past 4 weeks. They had a club race, they had the Track Magic reunion, and on October 6th, they have another club race, and they are running the track backwards. If the local go-kart tracks are getting a little stale, and you've never run Blue Max backwards, go this weekend to try it out. It's, in my opinion, so much more enjoyable to drive backwards, and maybe it's because it's a little backwards. And it's just very exciting. It's just a different setup when it's backwards. And so that's this weekend, October 6th, Blue Max Kart Club. And it is backwards. And we have CCKRA at Buttonwillow this weekend. That is the Central California Kart Racing Association. They are having a race at Buttonwillow. And that's down off Highway 5 and Lerdo Highway. So CCKRA, Buttonwillow. And then next weekend at the Stockton Fairgrounds, it's the Gold Rush event. So Stockton Fairgrounds Gold Rush. That's October 12th and the 13th. October 19th and 20th, Prairie City is hosting their Kart Fest. And also that same weekend, October 19th and 20th, that is Rock Sonoma. And they will have their race, and that is their season finale. There's a number of drivers coming in from town to get warmed up. Again, that is October 19th and 20th, Rock Sonoma, presented by Senzario. And I know Gary Carlton, he has a couple factory drivers coming in. One factory driver that should draw some attention is going to be Matias Ramirez. He just found out this weekend he will be piloting the new Track Magic shifter kart. And that is that is going to be exciting for Matias Ramirez. He'll be piloting the new Track Magic shifter kart at the Super Nationals. So, again, Rock Sonoma, October 19th and 20th. And as Rock Sonoma, presented by Sanzario. Monday, October 21st, is a Thunder Hill 5-mile track. So that's the NCK Road Racing Group. Thunder Hill 5-mile track, October 21st. Monday. October 27th, Kinsman Kart Club. And again, that's October 27th, Kinsman Kart Club out in Dixon. And to wrap up this podcast tonight, at the end of the month, October 28th through November 2nd, Rock Cup USA, Rock the Rio in Las Vegas. So tomorrow night, we will have Garrett Potter on from Rock Cup USA. He'll go into the VLR program that they unveiled 2 weeks ago for Briggs Racers. They have 45 VLR engines that are available, and there is no charge to lease the engines for that event. You will still be responsible for your entry fee, but Rock Cup USA is giving the four-stroke racers a chance to race in Vegas via the VLR program. So tune in tomorrow, sometime around 6 or 7 o'clock. We'll have Garrett Potter on from Rock Cup USA. And those are the events that I have on the calendar. So if I'm missing your event, send me an email, send me the details, and we will get you online. If we have your events online, but you want them to have more attention, contact me for some sponsorship or advertising programs, and working on some different ways to highlight the different events for the clubs and the promoters out there. And so we have some great things going on. And again, I just wanted to highlight the last weekend. So I don't want to overlook. Usually I do a couple weeks quick review. Not really a press release or anything else, but just a quick review. So last weekend it was the Streets of Lancaster presented by Super Karts USA. They were they wrapped up their Pro Kart Challenge series at Lancaster this past weekend. And also this past weekend was the Track Magic reunion. If you go to noracalkarters.com, I have a number of podcasts that are uploaded with factory drivers, Jason Lapointe, Oliver Rowan, Kyle Martin, Joe Fong, Greg Yanazzo, and I wrapped it up with Gary Carlton. Those were the factory Track Magic drivers that I interviewed yesterday, and it just getting some of their insight and their perspective to the event, the past, their history with Track Magic. Part of it was a history lesson. Part of it was a rewind for myself. But the whole experience was just a lot of fun. And I'm still kind of beaming because it was a lot of fun. We also had Big Rich from Gorilla Barbecue. He gave us his perspective. And he's Track Magic through and through. But he wasn't a pilot. He was the factory mechanic. And he had a really interesting podcast that kind of reflected back with Oliver Rowan, and it was kind of a neat perspective to hear. So again, that podcast is posted on noracalkarters.com on our podcast page, and I really want to just thank Bob Eriks. So he, by all accounts, Bob Eriks is the one that spearheaded this reunion and getting that energy. And again, it was Bob Eriks. And sorry, the reason I'm pausing is I'm being told my connection got cut. So that's why I paused for a moment. And Joe Fong, he also mentioned that George Barros was very instrumental in the whole reunion. And George Barros just isn't a man of many words. He just prefers, I think, just to put his head down and work. And but Joe Fong had mentioned that George Barros was a part of that as well. A couple months ago, I did a podcast with George Barros, so check that out on our podcast page. But the event was a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of Track Magic go-karts out there. A lot of Track Magic fans, customers, and factory drivers Jason LaPointe came down from Woodburg, Oregon. Oliver Rowan, he still lives in NorCal. He made it out. We had Landon Yee. He came out. I wasn't able to tie him down for a podcast because he had a time commitment. Kyle Martin came from Texas for this thing. And it's just a real testament to that track magic passion. I mean, these guys are, 15, 17, 20 years removed as drivers, and they still found the time to get together